first pitch, there is silence. Then it begins. Row by row, the seats fill. Footsteps become voices. The stadium awakes. Let's play ball.
Follow with
This quarterfinal game between Spain and Great Britain. A quarterfinal matchup here, the final one of the day. We know who the other three teams in the European Baseball Championship semifinals are. I'm Gabriel Fiddler. Here on the call with me is Milan van der Breggen. Should be a very exciting game and a rematch of the 2023 European Baseball Championship final.
Yeah, we got a good one up here on Field 2 in Rotterdam. We've got Great Britain and Spain fighting for a spot in the semifinals. Should be a good one.
So with the teams due to take the field any moment now, let's start with the lineup for Spain.
Yeah, leading off for Spain, right fielder Omar Hernandez. Playing second base, hitting second, Luis Guillorme. The left fielder batting third, Wander Encarnacion. First baseman batting fourth, Jesus Ustaris. Shortstop batting fifth, Edison Valerio. The designated hitter batting sixth is Rusber Estrada. Third baseman batting seventh, Carlos Colmenares. Catcher's batting eighth, his name is Gabriel Lino. And the center fielder to wrap things up, batting ninth, Frank Hernandez.
We'll turn now to Great Britain in the field. The battery, which we'll tell you more about in just a moment, is Nick Wells and Will Cresswell behind the plate. Around the horn from first base, it's Quinn Allen, Max Vieira, Chris Bear, and Nick Ward, unchanged from any previous game. And the outfield, as it has been since day two, is Matthew Ward in left field, Chris Collins in center, Charlie Collins in center field, and Julian Sanders in right field. So as GB warms up, we'll get ready to go here in Rotterdam. Tell us about how these teams made it to these positions.
Yeah, so Spain, who was in Group A here in Rotterdam, beat Sweden on day one, 15-0. That game only lasted 5 innings. Then they played Czech Republic and got beat 9-1. They wrapped up their pool phase playing Germany, won against them 4-2, and due to a three-way tie, three teams being 2-1, they had to disadvantage there in the tiebreak. Played Austria last night, beat them 10-0, and here they are in the quarterfinals playing Great Britain. Great Britain, who was in Group B here in Rotterdam, played the Netherlands, lost to them 9-3, and then beat Israel and France 16-1 and 9-4. 2 days off in a row here for Great Britain. Spain, who played yesterday but had a day off on Tuesday. We'll see what's going to happen here on Field 2 in Rotterdam.
In this new way of splitting up the European Baseball Championship, which we'll break down for you early in the game, there are multiple ramifications in place with every win, and one of the advantages to winning or finishing second in one's pool in Pool A or B is not only that one gets 2 off days in a row, whereas everyone else only gets 1, but also that one then has home field advantage for the quarterfinal game. Really a tremendous amount at stake in these new revamped European Baseball Championship tournaments. Wells delivers ball one, just a little outside, a puff of rosin emerging out of the glove of Will Cresswell behind the plate. Wells working very quickly already. This ball popped up to right field. The right fielder Sanders camps out under it on the warning track, and that is a fly out to start things off.
Yeah, that ball was pretty well struck there by the leadoff hitter for Team Spain. Spain known to have a very strong offensive lineup. See how they're going to fare against the lefty Nick Wells.
Multiple major leaguers and minor leaguers in the bowl game. And up steps, speaking of that, Luis Guillorme, one of the more experienced players in this lineup, and indeed in the tournament, as a cold strike one. Fastball on the outer half of the plate, so the left-handed hitter Guillorme.
Yeah, Guillorme, who had a stint in the big leagues this year even, was with the Houston Astros, but got released in August. As a result, he's now a free agent representing Spain here at the European Championships 2025. Not his first time doing so. He was also in the Netherlands during the 2016 European Championships. Those took place in Hoofddorp.
1-1 count now to Guillorme by Alex Wells, who started against the Netherlands. 6 1/3 innings, 9 Ks, only 1 walk. Gave up 3 runs, but did so working around 6 hits. The only knock against Wells, who sailed through the early innings of that game, was the long ball. Gave up 2 home runs, also a double. Half of his hits going for extra bases. As a cold strike 2, making it a full count. Wells, at various points in that game, in line for the victory over in the big stadium, held the Netherlands to only 1 run for the first 4 innings. That home run was a Didi Gregorius leadoff shot to start the game. The second run against him was a Eugene Helder home run in the 5th inning, before a run was charged to him in the 7th, a wind-blown double. Ball smacked up the middle, and it is the shortstop Bear wrapping it up, firing over to first base for 2 down. GB's middle infield defense has been no worse than excellent, and as good as spectacular this tournament, Milan.
Yeah, all the games I've seen with Great Britain playing them, the defense has looked very good, and I'm sure it's nice for Nick Wells, starting pitcher, to be able to trust his defense and able to pitch to contact against this very powerful lineup.
Cold strike to the 3-hitter. Now that's Wander Encarnacion, longtime star of what is now called the Spanish Baseball League. Ball outside.
Encarnacion, not only a star in the Spanish Baseball League, but also for the national team, as he was the most valuable player of the European Championships 2 years ago.
Swing and a miss. And that is 2 strikes now by the quick-working Wells. So GB hoping to get out of this 1-2-3 in the top of the 9th and let its offense get to work. To do so, one will have to get around Encarnacion, as that ball is down low.
Encarnacion, one of many players on the Spain roster that plays their club baseball for the Tenerife Marlins.
One of the top clubs in Europe, and it is back and forth between that club and the Astros Valencia for the Spanish Baseball League title every year, and also the case of who will represent Spain in European Club Cup competition, kind of the equivalent to this, but for club teams instead of national teams.
This year, the Marlins did not have too much trouble winning the championship. They went undefeated, 26-0.
Unbelievable performance in Spain.
Definitely.
We'll keep it here as Wells gets the strikeout of Encarnacion, And that'll give us a chance to preview the lineups and defense. Milan, if you want to lead us on the GB lineup.
Yeah, batting first, second baseman Max Vieira. He's followed up by third baseman Nick Ward. Batting third, the catcher Willis Creswell. Batting fourth, center fielder Charlie Collins. He's followed up by first baseman Quinn Allen. Batting sixth, right fielder Julian Sanders. Next up, the designated hitter Cole Leclerc. Shortstop Chris Bear is hitting 8. And to wrap things up, Matt Ward, the left fielder, batting 9th.
So GB sending an almost unchanged order, but with the addition of Cole Leclerc. And that turns us now to the defensive side, which features multiple former minor leaguers as well as the major leaguer in Guillaume, the Battery, which we'll tell you more about in a moment. Features Pablo Guillen on the mound. He'll be throwing to Gabriel Lino. From around the horn from first is Jesus Ustariz, Luis Guillorme, the shortstop Edson Valerio, the third baseman Carlos Colmenares, and then the outfield left to right is Wanda Encarnacion, and the brothers Frank Hernandez and Omar Hernandez, center field and right field. Omar Hernandez in right field is an interesting one in that he is primarily a catcher in the Royal system. He and his brother working their way up the system for a while, and now it is just the one of them, but one of a series of Spanish prospects signed out of Spain rather than having joined Spain later and then making their way to the minor leagues. So proving that it is just as possible to enter the Spain's lineup through the Spanish development system as it is from a Spanish-speaking country in the Americas, as this ball is a nice strike one from the right-handed Guillen to Vieira.
Guillen's first start this tournament, or second start this tournament. His first one was against Sweden in game 1.
So both teams using their starters from first game of the European Baseball Championship as a strike there into Max Vieira.
Guillen didn't have much trouble facing the Swedish lineup, going 5 innings in which he allowed 4 hits, 1 walk, and 7 strikeouts. Shut them out.
These two teams have a quite intense history as that ball comes in and just misses to Vieira. A lot of discussion around the diamond as to whether that was a good or bad call, but our umpires ever good on the call. So it's 1-2, and we'll tell you more about this matchup in a moment. Very high fastball, just misses. The two teams, of course, played in the 2023 European Baseball Championship, where neither team was considered a favorite for the final, as this 2-2 pitch comes into Vieira, and he is indeed called out. Lino had already thrown that ball to third, and it had been received by Colmenares before the umpire actually made the call. So confident was Lino.
Yeah, Lino probably sold that one a little bit, making that throw down to third base to start the throwing around the horn. Umpire Kevin Music with the punch out.
It would be interesting to see whether that kind of behavior, how it will be received by the umpiring crew, as that was borderline showing up the umpire. There is another cold strike, and Guillen pounds the zone. So Spain and GB match up for their only time in the 2023 Euros in Brno, and Spain and GB got out to an early 2-2 game before the Spaniards jumped out to a huge lead and cruised to an 11-2 final. Ball bounced down the first base line, and it is ruled foul. Only foul by a hair, I actually thought, as it crossed the bag from our angle down the right field side, that it actually may still be in fair territory, but the umpire, of course, positioned on the line.
Let's have a look at the umpires for today, as the home plate umpire is Kevin Music. At first base, Mojmir Jankovic. Second base, Alessandro Spera. And at third base, Jeffrey Bensnyder.
We saw Ben Schneider as the home plate umpire in our morning game on the main field between Sweden and... yes, once again, you heard me pause as throwing around the diamond long before the umpire made the call. I think that the called strike 3 call actually happened whilst the first baseman was throwing to second rather than even the catcher to first.
Yeah, it almost looks like Lino is taking over the umpiring duties here.
It does, and this is evidence of the way that Spain approaches the game. A lot of swagger and passion, but it remains to be seen how that becomes a factor in this game. But Guillen pounding the zone, very much deserved of those back-to-back Ks as Will Cresswell takes a ball.
Cresswell, a Blue Jays prospect, 22-year-old, was drafted this year in the 18th round.
He's only 2 for 12 in this tournament thus far. Yet to see his pedigree for Washington State.
Only played in 7 games this year with the Dunedin Blue Jays.
This ball is hit a long way to deep left center, but as has been the case all throughout the tournament, the ball simply hanging up. Very little wind actually in this exact moment. Cresswell gives that one a ride, but really the only ball that the two of us have seen go out was an absolute mammoth shot by Martin Červenka of the Czechs, much further to left field. That ball mirroring a huge hit that was hauled in by Martin Mužić in that same game a couple nights ago. So really exceptionally difficult to hit the ball out on the left-hand side. However, that is evidence of Cresswell's ability. 1-2-3 here in the bottom of the inning is GB. We'll be back in a moment for top of the second.
As we are back for the top of the second inning. Jesus Ustaris, the first baseman, hitting for Spain, facing Nick Wells. Haven't had much time to talk about Nick Wells.
As that ball comes well inside, Ustaris having to duck out of the way.
Wells, who is a former Blue Jays prospect, pitching to the current Blue Jays prospect, as Wells was drafted by Toronto in the 3rd round of the 2014 draft. Later played in the Seattle Mariners and Washington Nationals organization. Since 2022 has played independent league baseball. Currently doing so with the Gastonia Ghost Peppers of the Atlantic League.
one-time Rangers minor league facility there in Gastonia, North Carolina, as this ball misses just outside of the knees. So that makes it 3-1, I believe. Although the score changing. Well, looking very quickly, which is good to see. Ball is outside. Only one against the Netherlands. Last week's first game.
Once again, against Spain players, almost making calls made as I was walking down first base for home plate umpire Mercy put up four fingers. Brings things to shortstop. Edison Valerio.
Big southpaw fires in, strike one.
Valerio, a shortstop, Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. Played for the Trinity Marlins as well.
Tenerife, of course, part of the Islas Canarias, Canary Islands, part of Spain. And the development over there would suggest that maybe looking at more full-time Winter League baseball down there. Possibly not a full league, but European countries heading there for training over the outfield, into the outfield, base hit to right field.
Yeah, Valerio kind of had that off the end of his bat, but it was just enough to come down on the grass and now Spain. All of a sudden, it's 2 runners on base with no outs.
So we started at second base, but Valerio at first base. Bring up Bruce Estrada, 2 for 11 in tournament thus far.
Estrada served as the DH today. Listed catcher on the roster. Spent some time in minor league Atlanta Braves position. That was between 2018 and 2022.
Ball inside from Wells, just missing off the inside side of the plate. First senior national team tournament for Estrada.
Estrada played Mexico this year for the Dorados de Chihuahua in the Liga Mexicana de Baseball.
Foul behind. Late.
Pretty good year about the catcher slash DH. 53 games, like 62 hits for 326 batting average. 13 of those hits were long balls.
Played for Faulkner University at the Southern States Athletic Conference, which has produced quite a lot of players in the tournament. My university was one point part of that. It was 10 years ago now. Faulkner part of that. Bruce Harper, another university we've heard a fair bit about this year. Playing a lot of the other teams you mentioned, like Milligan.
Faulkner had an interesting year this year. A lot of their games were deep.
Let's go back at the moment there. Nicole did not swing at the 1-1 pitch. That is 2-2. From here, that was a pretty close call.
I do believe you got a strikeout.
That makes quite a bit more sense. That I saw was something else. Yes, I saw Milan's called third strike to my right, but interpreted that as his hope, or possibly his ruling, rather than the actual ruling.
Yeah, it's going back to Faulkner. I think a lot of our games were the win count as lost, considering they were using an eligible player.
As the sacrifice by Linares on the first pitch goes 1-3, but he was 2 runners in scoring position.
Interesting time to bunt there.
It was rather. One down, headed in bottom line of Molina, so he has power.
Lino, catch duties today. Start on the season in Mexico, and then later joined San Marino in the Serie A of Italy. A lot of the Italian national players sticking around after they beat Germany 1-0 earlier this afternoon. Supporting a lot of their teammates in the Serie A.
It's one of the fun things that we haven't talked about European Baseball Championship is how many players in different countries play the different leagues and then return to their national teams for international play, thus giving the players and fans a chance to see people in new situations and familiar ones. So what count to Eno? Run on second up the studies at Mario. Sky foul off right field side. Lino was initially used to play for Spain in the 2020 World Baseball Classic qualifiers. Will the event was cancelled. He then joined Spain 2021 European Championship. Hit a 3-run homer in his first AD and doubled twice in the bronze medal loss to Italy, hitting 368 overall, 895 slugging. I mentioned his power. 2023 European Championship hit once again 389 and 833 slugging, very similar to home runs yet again. 9 RBI, 5 Ks, giving him 16 RBI in 21 games. A crucial part of this team's lineup, and a crucial part of Spain winning its first championship in 68 years that year. We'll skip in front of our plate for both.
Lino can play a crucial part here, as he's got 2 runners more in position, and Wells trying to fight his way out of this inning.
So Wells slowing down the pace here. 2-2, sets, holds, now pitches. Line drive to left field, get down, a shot as Matthew Ward camping under it. More than able, much less than normal, which helps. That is a team F7. So Spain threatens in the inning, but nothing too long.
Yeah, I mean, they got some runners on, but weren't able to get him across. Let's see if Great Britain can do something in the bottom of the second. We'll grab back.
Tranquilo. Dale.
Charlie Collins will lead it off to GV in the bottom half of the second. Collins, Quinn Allen, and Sanders due up the 4-5-6 against Guillen, who looked excellent in the top half of the first Milan.
Yeah, he made quick work out of the top of the Great Britain order. 2 strikeouts looking. And a routine fly ball to center field off the bat of Creswell.
Foul ball to start things off by Collins. Collins has been scorching hot in this tournament, carrying over from a very strong under-23 European tournament, which GB won this year. This tournament is 5-4-11 out of the cleanup spot. And ball driven deep to right field. It's going to go into the corner. Collins very much a chance for for 3, though he'll slow up pretty early as that ball hits so hard that there's no chance of extra bases. He then takes a sip of tea after arriving at second base. Just what head coach Bradley Marcelino wanted to start this second inning against Spain.
Yeah, very nice piece of hitting, and obviously no need to risk being the first out of third base there, as that's one of baseball's unwritten rules. Can't be the first or third out of third base, and I think Collins at second base doing just fine. Marcelino putting up the signs. Oh, that's it. The third base coach is T.S. Reed. Sorry.
Right. Yes, there are many of these hit-made baseball rules. Sometimes it's okay to get out at second, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's okay to get out at third. The general idea is you don't want to run yourself by being too aggressive, as we saw the Austrians early in their game against France. However, it's good to be aggressive at the right times, as we saw in the same game, as Austria used that to its advantage. Big swing and a miss on a change-up there. Beautiful pitch on 1-0 Quinn Allen. Collins has very good speed at second, so any ball to the right-hand side of the outfield should score him. Any ball to the alley. Allen 3 for 12 in the tournament. So let's have a big home run, and this ball ground to the right-hand side. Guillaume slides a little bit as he tries to pick that up, but does so and fires over to first base. Collins moving to third.
Guillaume, a veteran second baseman who has showed off a lot of nice defense already this tournament, and despite going down there trying to make the throw, still made a throw right on the chest of first baseman Jesus Ustadis to record the first out. However, Collins did move up to third base. So a nice RBI opportunity here for right fielder Julian Sanders.
And hard to imagine anyone much hotter than Sanders as he takes the pitch from Guillen well high. He is an incredible 10 for 14 in this tournament. Leads the tournament in hits.
714 batting average is something that you only see in MLB The Show.
That's true. It is really a rarity over more than a 5 at-bat span to see anything that high. That's 5 hits every 7 times, and this ball flared to the right-hand side and just snagged by Ustadis at first base. Earlier in the tournament, a lot of those balls for Sanders were getting through. Have to feel like that's partly a case of the luck evening out here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he hit that ball pretty hard, however, right at someone. And as a result, there's now 2 outs, and the chances are that Great Britain is going to go out of this inning without scoring now.
However, Cole Leclerc making his tournament debut will have something to say about that. So a substitution. And Leclerc jumping up from the under-23 gold medal European winners, that team qualifying for the World Cup in Nicaragua next year. First time Great Britain has ever done that. Ball fouled off to the left-hand side. And many of the teams that we have had, I have discussed about the importance of feeding players in from the under-23 tournament and teams at that level, and getting them into the big league club. And that is exactly what GB is doing here with 5 players from that U23 squad.
Leclerc, a 21-year-old who is to Texas A&M Texas.
Spain halfway off the field on that 0-2 pitch, but it is a ball. If we had Spain calling the game, it would be a perfect inning every time for a pitch where that pitch went. Hard to argue with the confidence and optimism, though. Swing and a miss on a pitch almost in the dirt. And your prediction that GB would not score in that inning was correct, Milan.
Yeah, Guillen showing some emotion there, getting off the mound. A little fist pump in the air, and he's excited, getting his team fired up, and they can score here as we move on to the top of the third. We'll be right back.
We are scoreless through 2 here in Rotterdam in the final quarterfinal of the 2025 European Baseball Championship. Spain will send up 9-1-2 in the lineup. Frank Hernandez, Omar Hernandez, and Luis Guillorme.
Frank Hernandez with a very nice batting average on the regular season.
And this ball is bunted down the third base line. Incredible throw by Nick Ward at third base, ranging halfway down the line. His momentum carrying him into foul territory, throwing across his body to first base, and somehow Frank Hernandez beating that out. I am truly astonished at his ability to put that on the throw, but also that Frank Hernandez got up the line that quickly.
Yeah, Hernandez with some good hustle down the line there, and maybe that's part of the reason he hit 464 in the regular season there with Tenerife Marlins. Speed don't slump, and in this case, this may be the reason why Hernandez hustle single here as he keeps hustling.
Ball hit up the middle, more or less at the second baseman, Max Vieira, who was standing on second, waiting to receive the throw from the catcher. Surprised by it, though, as he's expecting a throw rather than a bouncing ball. And he is only able to knock the ball down. Hernandez, of course, already at second as he was stealing. And so both runners safe, both Hernandez brothers safe. And we have runners on first and second. That was a bit of an unusual play, Milan.
Yeah, I think the second baseman there, Vieira, caught a little off guard by the steal, and then the ball hit right at him. And it's interesting to see that Spain is using some kind of small ball here, as they've been relying on the long ball early on.
Speaking of which, a bunt down the first base side. Quinn Allen fields it about a third of the way between first and second. Bunt carried a very long way. He then aimed to throw for second. There was absolutely no play there. And by the time he looked over at first, the fleet-footed Guillorme was there. So, Milan, you were right on. This is very unexpected from Spain, which has traditionally relied on the long ball, but 3 consecutive infield hits for Spain.
Yeah, and we talked about it earlier today. The wind's blowing in a little bit. It's cold out, and the ball is not flying like it has been earlier this week. I think Spain understanding that and using the ball on the ground here in order to get some action on the base paths, and now we got the bases loaded with no outs.
Wonder Encarnacion stepping up, and if anyone can do damage, it's the number 3 hitter in Spain's lineup. I was talking to hitting coach for Spain, Adam Jones, the longtime Baltimore Orioles and Team USA outfielder, before the game, and He said that the teams that will do well in this tournament, as this ball bounced to third base, Nick Ward picking it up, his feet throwing home, heads up play, 5-2 to get the out. Big out for GB. Base is still loaded for Spain. Wender Encarnacion swinging on the first pitch there. Not hitting it very hard, and had the bases not been loaded, I suspect we would have seen another infield hit. That's more or less how they've all been traveling.
Yeah, it kind of worked out there that they had to force out at home plate, and it was able to keep running and flip it over to home plate to record the first out of the inning.
And so I was talking to Jones, and he said the good teams will adapt. If hitting the ball isn't in the air, and if hitting the ball in the air isn't working, then one has to figure out another way to score runs, and that is exactly what Spain is doing here. So Milan with a very similar diagnosis to Adam Jones.
Yeah, it's almost like I had a career like Adam Jones. I think his bank account's looking a little better than mine.
Might very well be. It's all about opportunities, though. You never know, Milan. Next gig could be in the broadcast booth rather than on the field. So 2-0 count now to Jesus Ustariz. And that is a cold strike. Ustariz, another Tenerife Marlins player, won the 2021 Triple Crown in Spain. This year, perfectly solid 383 average, 6 doubles, 3 triples, 5 home runs, 29 RBI in 20 games. What an unbelievable production. And that is strike 2.
Nice two-seam fastball there by the left-handed pitcher, as you can kind of see that on the stream as it tailed away from Ustariz's bat. Counts now 2-2 as Ustariz is going to have to fight to stay alive.
Ustariz had some time in the Detroit and St. Louis systems between 2010 and 2015. However, he's been back in Spain since then, and one of the top players all time in Spanish Baseball League history, the formerly known División de Honor, the Division of Honor. Full count here now to him. Bases loaded. Only one down. And ball high and outside. That is a walk to drive in a run. So Spain breaks the deadlock. And its bench is by far the loudest that we have heard of any. They rely a lot on their team spirit and confidence. And here they're getting it through the different way than normal.
Yeah, cheering loud, trying to stay warm, probably all close together. Spain obviously not used to this cold weather.
Multiple of the Spaniards I saw looking very chilly in what is a fairly typical autumn evening anywhere in Northern Europe, especially Northwest Europe. Mid-teens, breezy. We had quite a bit of sun until middle afternoon as Connor Brooks, GB's pitching coach, heads to the mound. Connor was a former minor league pitcher and has been with GB since the 2022 World Baseball Classic qualifier. At one point serving as a scout. He is now an international scout for the Kia Tigers of the KBO, as the Korean and Japanese league teams looking further around the world for talent than just looking at former minor leaguers. In 2024 at the London Series, there were multiple Japanese scouts at the European Development Tournament held by MLB beforehand. Chris Knobloch correcting me that it was the 2021 European Championship rather than 2022 WBCQs. And he was a teammate of former GB head coach Drew Spencer at Dartmouth. Spencer then heading on to London and becoming a coach for the London Mets, to whom he led multiple times to the British Baseball Federation's National Baseball League Championship, 9 in a row now for the Mets. Hello to Drew if you're listening. 2-1 pitches outside as Guillen and Lino get warm immediately to our right. It's been a long half inning, but only 1 in for Spain.
Yeah, as a pitcher, it's important to stay loose, especially in a cold September night like it is tonight. Guillen, a veteran, knowing what to do.
Pull outside and another walk. Guessing that Webb will not be much longer as we have a pitcher and a catcher running down to the bullpen for GB. So GB already getting someone warming in the second in this do-or-die game. Win, and one has a chance at the European Baseball Championship. Lose, and it is all over. And the competition already extremely steep in the quarterfinals here. This tells you something about the quality of European national team baseball, that two teams who fought for a national a continental title 2 years ago would only be playing in the quarterfinals 2 years later.
I'm a little surprised to see Wells struggle here to find his own, as throughout the regular season in 97.2 innings he walked 47, which is respectable compared to 99 strikeouts.
And only 1K against a very, very strong Dutch team on day one. He will be greeted by Roosberg Estrada, who has been traveling the world of late as part of his baseball career. I mentioned he was with Saltillo and Chihuahua of the Liga Mexicana de Baseball, the Mexican National League. And Faulkner, earlier in his career, also played in the Atlanta Braves system for 4 years, then headed to the minors and then the Puerto Rican and Venezuelan Winter League seasons. So in 7 years, he's played in 5 different countries, including the Netherlands now. Takes 2 straight balls. Webb really in trouble. Already had 1 visit this inning, which means that no one can come out from the GB dugout without taking him out of the game, as GB getting the pen warm in a hurry. Wells checks the runners, looks in, misses outside again, and that is a 3rd consecutive walk.
You would almost think this has to be the end of the day for Wells. 3 walks in a row, walked in 3 runs. In a game that means a lot here for both teams, I think it's time for a change, as Wells just seems to have totally lost it here.
Unfortunately, though that may be true, that is easy enough to say. However, GB's right-hander has only just started actually throwing in the pen. That's Ryan Long, the Baltimore Orioles farmhand. And he will require at least a few more minutes to get ready as Cresswell walks to the mound. For as long a conversation as the umpire will allow, that is for sure. And Long getting ready in a hurry. But in these cool autumn evenings, can't rush things too much. And so it's Webb's game for at least 1 more batter, if not 2. So the runners on base, Ustariz, Valerian, Estrada, all reached via walk. Each of them drove in a run. It's Spain 3, GB 0. GB has certainly shown the ability to score plenty of runs, and it will have to do so against a team which is routinely regarded as one of the best hitting European national teams, as Carlos Gonzalez takes a bowl.
Put down the sacrifice bunt last inning. Tampa Bay Rays prospect.
Will not be doing so here. He hits a single to left field instead. Matt Ward fields on 1 hop, throws into Nick Ward, no relation. Cutting off one base on the strong field, but Wells finds the zone and immediately adjusted to the outfield.
Yeah, Colmenares getting impatient, waiting for a pitch. No one else is well past at bats. He found a pitch he likes, stayed inside with his hands and smoked out the opposite way for an RBI single. Obviously, no one in risking sending another guy home as Great Britain are struggling on defense early on.
And that will be it for GB as head coach Bradley Marcelino comes out. So Roman Ireland first base, Estrada at second, Laria on third. Wells nightmarish day done after 2 and 3rd innings. 4 hits given up in total of 4 walks and only 1 K. Cominares give us a moment to talk about him. He is generally considered to be a rising prospect in Tampa Bay's system. Not in their top 30, but very young and being pushed very aggressively by the Rays. We're not afraid to work their development system with quick promotions this year for the complex league rehab assignment and Bowling Green of high A league against Great Britain bench coach Liam Carroll, who's in charge of Greenville Drive, hit a total between the two levels of 219, 342 on base percentage, very strong, and 336 very solid for a 21-year-old in the minor leagues. He has a 219 career average, he's playing 2 years younger than his competition, playing all over the infield as well as a little bit of center field and left field. Lots of speed on first base, second and third. As our new pitcher gets ready, that is Ryan Long. Long, the right hand coming out of the pen for GB. He's a prospect in the Orioles organization. He has had a very solid this year, advancing to AAA for the 2nd consecutive year with a late season call-up. 4.01 ERA, 65 Ks in 94 and a third innings as he pitches to induce weak contact. Doesn't walk a ton of guys, 35 and 91 and a third innings. He's a career 4.32 ERA in the minors, more or less split evenly between starting and relieving, so he's very comfortable in any situation on the mound, and an important arm for GB.
Was also part of their 2023 World Baseball Classic roster. Speaking about the World Baseball Classic, as you can see on the screen, the runner at second base representing wearing the World Baseball Classic qualifier helmet. As you can see the logo there on the back. Spain during the World Baseball Classic qualifier earlier this year in February, and Taiwan came in third, coming up shy of qualifying for the tournament. They had a 2-2 record, winning against Chinese Taipei 12-5, then losing to Nicaragua 1-2. Then they beat South Africa 9-1, and ended up losing 6-3 to Chinese Taipei, and did not quite make it. Nicaragua and Chinese Taipei advanced to the World Baseball Classic, which will take place in March of 2026.
So he fires in low, and the ball gets away from Cresswell. 5th run of the inning coming in. And at this point, doesn't feel like Spain could do much wrong. Everything going their way as both runners move up. 5 runs in, still 2 runs down. Lino, the hitter, the 9th batter in the lineup. They'll face a pitcher who has already shown his face in the tournament, earning a brief relief appearance against the Netherlands on day 1, 2/3 of an inning. Struck out a better, but gave up 3 runs on 4 hits to the Netherlands. And a ball up high from him, so 2-0. Lino fly out to left field, hit that ball very, very hard to deep left center, but no chance of getting anything in really anywhere except the left field foul pole in this field. Fans crowded en masse behind home plate. With the nature of the schedule at this point, with the games following a preset progression. We have the games with the two largest sets of fans here in GB and the Netherlands, both playing at the same time. So the Netherlands on the main field, Spain on this one as Lino fouls back the 2-1, meaning that we have an absolutely packed house on field 2, almost certainly a season high here in Neptun's Familiestadion on the backfield. A great looking baseball facility, as good as most countries in Europe have anywhere, and here it is the second facility, but floodlights, full dugouts, bullpens, and hitting cages here. So great facility here in Rotterdam for the Neptunus. Ball coming in, check swing, looked like a strike to begin with, but no call made by the umpire, so that is 3-2. Rotterdam intending to relaunch the Old World Port Tournament, one of the great independent national team and elite level tournaments, with what is now called the Rotterdam Baseball Week, a really cool way to watch some great baseball every 2 years in Rotterdam. I certainly hope I'll be back for that, and working with Mike Spijkerman and the rest of the crew on the Rotterdam Baseball Foundation, who do a great job keeping this facility in gorgeous shape and are bringing the tournament to you here on BaseballEurope.tv, as this ball is called strike 3. Unsurprising that Lino, like all Spanish hitters, cannot believe that he got out. Looked to me like basically a perfect two-seam fastball on the inside half of the plate.
Yeah, that was a very well-executed pitch there by Ryan Long, who records the second out of the inning. It took a little while to record that second out, as the first out was Frank Hernandez, as he was caught between third and home. Speaking about Frank Hernandez, Hernandez will be the next guy up, as Spain has now batted around this inning.
Hernandez, part of the Spanish baseballing Hernandez family. He and his brother, as I mentioned, both in the minor leagues. I didn't get a chance to tell you that Frank was in the Cubs system. Brother of Omar. They are, in fact, I have not mentioned this yet, twins. And advancing all the way as far as Single A in 2024, Myrtle Beach of the Cubs system. Hit 253 as primarily an outfielder catcher, splitting time about evenly between the two. Really very solid numbers for a European in the minor leagues, playing in his late teens and early 20s. 253 with a very good 341 on base percentage, and 17 stolen bases in 154 career games. He could do a little bit of everything. Particularly impressive considering he was catching for quite a bit of that, especially towards the end as this ball fouled off. Here back to the outfield alongside brother Omar, also a catcher.
Yeah, and I think it says something about the Spanish lineup and how strong it is with a hitter like Frank Hernandez in the 9th spot, usually known to be occupied by one of the least offensive hitters on the roster. But in this case, with Spain, 1 through 9 able to produce something offensively.
So runners on second and third, 5 runs in, 2 outs. And Ryan Long delivering, the big right-hander, inducing another fly ball behind. You're absolutely right about the lineup here, and it's a noticeable difference between the way that Spain has constructed its roster and its opponent GB has constructed its roster. Spain generally going for proven talent, many of whom have played for Spain multiple times over the years, including multiple World Baseball Classic qualifiers. GB feeding in through its youth program with 5 members of its superb under-23 team, which will be heading to the World Cup in Nicaragua next year for the first time in British baseball history. Players from its domestic circuit, and then but primarily players who have headed to the United States or spent time there and gone to university there, getting that high-level experience, which is not as easily available in Britain or anywhere in Europe, and then feeding them in early to its national team. Very young national team, as this 1-2 pitch taken low. GB's approach actually, although it's produced results more like Spain, really more similar to a country like Sweden, Austria, Switzerland, where it's relying on young talent, sending lots of players to university, having them come back in and playing for the national team.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting look there. As Great Britain obviously using a younger team here.
Yet another foul ball. This one will have chase of a couple of GB players, but no real chances that heads out. So 2-2 still.
Frank Hernandez putting up a good at-bat so far, making Ryan Long work for that last out of the inning. And he's been working for a little while as he's 13 pitches in already. Does it feel like he just entered the game?
13 pitches and only 2 batters. He's already thrown a full inning's worth of pitches. And just circling back one more time to the Spanish lineup, Frank Hernandez, the number 9 hitter, hit .464 in the Spanish Baseball League. As Milan pointed out last time he was up, hits a ball long and deep, should stay in. Julian Sanders corrals it right in the right field corner on the warning track, only a couple feet from the fence, and GB finally out of the inning. 5 runs cross in that inning. 4 hits that allowed them to do so. 2 runners left on. GB has scored plenty of runs in this lineup, and it's shown in the past it can come back from large deficits. In particular, its under-23 team coming back twice from sizable margins on its way to the European title. Its senior national team will now have to repeat this, and we'll tell you about it in just a moment. Bottom of the 3rd inning, Spain jumping out to a 5-run lead. Ryan Long settling things down for GB, but his offense in a big hole now against the strike throw again. This ball bunted down the third base line, and it will get through. That's almost certainly a base hit for Christopher Bear, who just has fantastic speed. Colmenares charging, and the ball just skips under his glove, but when you're running at full tilt, you're essentially just hoping to come up with it.
Well, yeah, and I think Great Britain there kind of just looked at what Spain did in the top of the 3rd, using the small ball in order to apply some pressure, and it paid off for Spain. So Great Britain here giving them a little taste of their own medicine, and as a result, leadoff runners on base with Matt Ward, the left fielder, up next.
Ward in there for his first debut of the tournament. He came in as a pinch hitter in GB's first game, as this ball low and inside to him in the first game of the tournament, and has never stepped out of the lineup since. Ward 2 for 9 in this tournament, which is his debut for GB. One of 11 rookies in this European Baseball Championship.
Matt Ward, who played for the Guelph Royals of the Inter-County Baseball League, a very interesting independent league with an interesting mix of players.
Yeah, the Guelph Royals, one of the all-time great teams of that IBC league, which has produced so many international players for Canada and Great Britain in particular, though other countries as well. very, very competitive baseball, and it's a really interesting mixture of emerging university players, players who never really were quite at the level to get drafted and play in the U.S. minor leagues, and then players with really, really significant pedigree coming back home to continue their baseball careers well into their 40s in many cases. GB has had multiple national teamers from this intercounty baseball league, and one of its former managers as well.
A lot of my former college teammates playing in that league, and they're playing against former MLB All-Star and big-time closer Fernando Rodney, who is still balling out at well over age 40.
Yeah, it's a really fun league. If you're ever in the Ontario area with some time over summer, then it would be great to check out. It'd be very much the equivalent of good minor league baseball in the U.S. And so Matt Ward steps in, with the count full. The runner off on the bases. He had stolen second, the fleet-footed Chris Bear, but will instead have that erased as a walk instead.
And it looks like the long offensive inning kind of got Pablo Guillen, the pitcher, off his rhythm, as he's looked a little off here along that bunt single and now the walk. 2 runners on, no outs. Back to the top of the lineup for Great Britain.
Absolutely no problem whatsoever the first 2 innings for Guillen. And you're right, Milan, he really just hasn't looked quite himself. Could it be that the long layoff which saw him warming up has affected him more than most of the pitchers at this tournament, as he plying his trade in much warmer weather climates?
Yeah, I think the temperature may play a role here. Now, obviously, I don't think you'll hear Guillen complain about a 5-run lead here in the 3rd inning. Now it's his job to keep it at a 5-run lead and not allow Great Britain to work their way back in this game.
Swing and a miss on 0-1 by Max Vieira, who took a few at-bats to settle in his JB debut in this tournament, but a single in his 5th AB on day 1 has since led to a barrage of hits. He had 2 against Israel, 2 against France. His 2 hits against Israel, both doubles as this ball bounced down the 3rd baseline. Now up to 357, including the strikeout in the 1st inning.
Vieira, the 2nd baseman, who made his professional baseball debut this year with the High Point Rockers, another team in the Atlantic League.
In the Piedmont region of central North Carolina, hotbed for not only baseball, but also, as the baseball Brit Joey Mellows told us earlier in this tournament, for barbecue. If you've ever spent any time in the Carolinas, you will know that there is excellent eating to be had there.
As that 0-2 pitch by Guillen looked like a nice pitch. Home plate umpire Kevin Music kind of flinched on it. Wanted to make the call and then he didn't. We heard some disagreement there from the Spanish dugout.
1-2 pitch. Vieira chases a fastball low and away, and that is out number 1.
And Guillen slowly starting to look more like this Guillen we saw in the 1st and 2nd inning. Sharp breaking ball there. Gets Vieira swinging. And Guillen's got 1 down now with runners on 1st and 2nd still. Facing the lefty Nick Ward.
Ward strikeout looking on a pitch that by the time it was called by the home plate umpire, first baseman Jesus Ustares had already thrown to Luis Guillorme at 2nd. But it's a strikeout regardless. However, that is the first time Nick Ward has been struck out this entire tournament. He's 4 for 5 with 2 walks, a hit by pitch, and 5 runs. He's doubled and homered. Just a fantastic start. 308 average, 438 on base percentage, 692 slugging for the 2-hole hitter for GB. He's become the heart and soul of this lineup and a team captain. Only his 2nd European Baseball Championship for GB. And in 2023, he was absolutely scorching hot. He went, as as my records are slightly sluggish here. He had a great performance in Trebic, as the count now 0-2 again to him. We'll tell you more about that in a moment. Guillen hits this curveball into right field. Guillorme going back, and Omar Hernandez, pardon me, coming in, but it is Guillorme who grabs that 2 down. Nick Ward in the opening round started to get hot with a back-to-back 1-for-2 performances, with the second one with a home run, then 3 for 6 against Italy with a home run, and then just kept hitting the ball out of the yard. A double and a homer against the Czechs, fell a triple short of the cycle. A double and a single versus Germany, and a home run in the European Championship final. He was 11 for 21 with 6 extra base hits and 5 walks in that incredible performance, but he turns things over to Will Cresswell. So Cresswell steps in, F7 in his first time up. Has yet to really get the ball going. 2 for 13 in the tournament. Takes that first pitch, and then the second one, Lino doing his very best, but that one looks like it must have been inside.
It looks like Guillen has kind of found his groove again after allowing those 2 early base runners in the inning. Strike out and a pop-up.
Certainly does. So Guillen comes set. Ball fouled off. Working a little more slowly still, but very much more in command.
Guillen obviously trying to make sure the runners don't get too big of a lead here. Don't think they'll be stealing, but you don't want them to get off too far and be able to score on a easy single to the outfield. Just a 1-2 pitch. Almost. There it comes.
Guillen working much more slowly. Ball to second base. Sure-handed Guillorme gets it. Fires over, and Spain is out of the bottom of the third. No runs on 1 hit. There were 2 runners left on. We are through 3. It is 5-0 Spain. We'll be back in just a moment. We are back for the top of the fourth. 1/3 of this game already through, and although the pace has slowed down a bit, we are already more than 1 hour into this one. Gabriel Fiedler here alongside Milan van der Breggen. You can see my details on the screen. Get in touch at X-Rings UK and tell me where you are watching from, who you are supporting, whether you have any family members or friends playing on the team, and If you're wearing any of the gear supporting either the team, send us a picture of us watching so we can spread the good word of the fans that are watching from a distance. If you're thinking about coming down, if you're anywhere near, you really ought to. This is just incredible baseball as we see a fantastic play from Chris Bear at shortstop.
Yeah, Bears looked really good so far this tournament on defense. Very nice running play there by the shortstop to retire leadoff hitter Omar Hernandez.
So Hernandez 0 for 3 already in 3 innings. And Ryan Long looks to be just what the doctor ordered for Bradley Marcelino. He's come in and set down 3 in a row. Finally gotten GB in a position where it looks like things are rolling pretty well. This ball just missing off the plate. 1-0 pitch.
At bat, the 30-year-old Luis Guillorme, who made his Major League Baseball debut in 2018. Since then, played with the New York Mets, Atlanta Braves, Los Angeles Angels, Arizona Diamondbacks, and Houston Astros. Played in 423 Major League games throughout his career. In more recent years, kind of been up and down between AAA and the big leagues. Currently a free agent, looking for a new job.
And multiple players have signed contracts out of the European Baseball Championship in recent years. Some for the very first time. Some, in the case of GB's Nick Ward, getting another chance at an appearance in affiliated baseball after independent league action, though he's since returned to the Indies where he has got great numbers. This ball hit to third base. Nick Ward gets it, sets himself, fires across as Ryan Long ducks on the mound. Yet another really nice infield play by GB.
Yeah, the defense is looking pretty good. And so far, what's hurt Great Britain is the amount of walks there in the third inning. Obviously, when you got a good defense, you kind of want to use that to your advantage as a pitcher and try to pitch to contact. I'm sure that starting pitcher Nick Wells was not trying to walk the bases loaded and walk in a couple runs, but it is nice knowing as a pitcher that your defense is able to make a play here and there.
And GB returning to that recipe since Long entered as this pitch just missing. Wander Encarnacion stepping up. He is 0 for 2, but has scored a run. Long missing, a little low and a little outside.
Encarnacion, who played with Parma and won the Serie A back in 2024. Currently back in Spain with the Marlins. Not the Miami Marlins. Tenerife Marlins.
Very similar climate. But this ball grounded to second base. Max Vieira down on one knee, making sure that does not go any further. And that is a very quick 1, 2, 3, 5th. Just what the doctor ordered for GB. But Spain up 5-0. We head to the bottom of the 4th. You may be able to hear the sounds of a busy Netherlands pop star who is performing a short set on the field one before the before the Netherlands-Croatia game, as this ball fouled up and beyond by Charlie Collins. Busy will throw out the first pitch afterwards and has become more involved with honkball here in the Netherlands, thanks to a son who has started playing, and the two of them falling in love with the sport, as Guillen, a nice curveball on the outside part of the plate to the right-handed hitting Collins. Collins has been as hot as it gets for GB.
Had that nice double back into second inning, showing off his wheels there. Let's see if he can do something here to start off the fourth for Great Britain.
5 for 14 as he fouls off the 0-2 pitch. A double and a triple thus far. Excuse me, I'm looking at his U23 numbers actually, which I pulled up. Almost the exact same teams faced in almost the exact same order. So that was 4 for 13 with a double and a triple in the U23 European Championship. And here in the Senior National Championship, a even better story, 6 for 12 thus far with 2 doubles, 500 average. Also taken a walk and 2 hit by pitches as yet another ball fouled off. It's now 2-2.
We've mentioned some NAIA powerhouses throughout the tournament. Collins currently playing at one in Southeastern University down in Florida. Southeastern has been a top NAIA school in the last couple of years, usually relying on a very hard-throwing pitching staff and some solid offense, Collins being one of those offensive players.
And a cold strike 3 to Collins on a slider on the outside part of the plate. Once again, Lino had that ball halfway around the infield by the time the umpire actually made the call. And that allows Quinn Allen to enter, but he does so with no one on. He's 0 for 1 today.
Allen, another college baseball player, as he's at Erskine College, the NCAA Division II.
And he comes in hitting 231, hits the ball down the left field line. Will it be caught, foul, or fair? It is indeed foul and not caught, so that is strike 1 to Allen. Grounded out to second in the second. 3 for 13 in the tournament. It is Allen's first tournament for the Lions.
Playing first base today is the left-handed hitter, right-handed thrower.
He has been consistently the 5-hole hitter at the first sack. And my goodness, Lino, the frame job on that one took it from a high and outside strike to a mid-level strike on the outside corner.
That definitely looked a little high coming in, but home plate umpire Kevin Music calling it a strike. That one not a strike, because that was definitely high.
Little Chen music, to use the phrase that Milan brought to us earlier in the day. Means a ball that is up near the face. Guillen, a funky little adjustment, and that ball barely missing. It looks like he may actually be cramping or tightening up a little bit.
I don't know if he was cramping or just upset with the strike call there, as he was getting ready to celebrate strike 3, but instead the count's now 2-2.
Never has there been a pitching and catching unit more convinced of its strike-throwing ability than this Spanish one, as a check swing. No doubter from where we were. It's very clear he didn't go around. But Guillen, actually in the windup, had pulled his leg up and then kind of let it dangle, like is more common with Taiwanese and Japanese pitchers, then firing in. 2-2 count, swing and a miss on a low changeup. That was a very nice pitch from Guillen Milan.
Yeah, Guillen back to where he started. 2 strikeouts in a row to start an inning, as he just did in the first. Here he does the same thing in the fourth. Guillen so far 6 strikeouts on the day, and he is looking very good. Speaking about that little leg hang, could be part of a timing disruption mechanism that he is using to fool these Great Britain hitters.
That's exactly right, and that's why East Asian pitchers do it. Julian Sanders ropes the ball into the left field corner, but foul. That is the Sanders that we've very much been seeing throughout this tournament. He lined fairly softly to first baseman Jesus Ustariz his first time up, but even still, he is batting .667, 10 for 15 in this tournament, showing power as well. He's the all-time home run leader for Claremont Mudd Scripps College.
As there's another timing disruption and an Ephus pitch there from Guillen. Seems to work out as that ball's popped up and caught by third baseman Colmenares.
At the same time, Guillen walks off the field, does not look behind him, gives a fist bump, and is already off the field by the time his fielder wraps that in. So this is a bravado on a scale that the likes of which have maybe never been seen before, but whatever it is, it seems to be working for Spain, which takes a 5-0 lead into the fifth inning. Back for more. We are through 4 complete here in Rotterdam at Neptunus Familiestadion. GB down 5-0. Ryan Long on the mound has been exactly what the doctor ordered. 5 up, 5 down since he came in, but he inherited a massive jam. Didn't allow any more runs to score, which is a tricky thing to do with runners on second, third, and only 1 out. As a nice fastball. Probably the best one he's thrown is cold strike 1 to Jesus Ustariz. Ustariz might as well not even have come since he's not in the box score at 0 for 0. He has, of course, 2 walks and scored on one of those. Longtime corner infielder for Spain. As that is a cold strike 2. Back to back. Long looking really good on the mound. The Orioles minor leaguer. Swing man in the high minors for the Baltimore club. There was very much a chance that he might get a call-up this year, but the Orioles welcoming back multiple pitchers from year-long absences due to surgery, and in the end, not enough spots in the bullpen, and instead he can do a spot here for GB. And cold strike 3. Great to see a Spanish hitter have to deal with the same treatment that the Spain pitching staff giving out.
It is interesting,
1, 2,
however.
3. Sorry, Milan.
It is interesting as Ustariz asked for time, was not granted. Ustariz walked out of the box and no time was called.
And an official warning now given to the Spanish dugout.
But
I can't help but wonder, Milan, that if, given the way that the Spanish have been acting as if the umpire is not present in this ball game, truly ignore. I've never seen an umpire ignored to the level that the Spanish are doing, where there's sometimes you may not get calls going your way.
yeah, you're probably right. And I think Long did a great job there being the professional he is, just delivering a strike and wrapping up the strikeout despite the hitter not being in the box.
That's exactly right. And the thing is, you got to play the game. And if you aren't guarded time, it has nothing to do with what uniform you're wearing. As another really nice fastball low in the zone is belted into center field. But Charlie Collins, the ever-present center fielder there. If whatever the case with this young GB team, whether or not it comes back tonight or not, one of the takeaways has been this is probably the best fielding British team that has taken the field possibly ever, but certainly in some time. And it's not as if the previous ones have been lackadaisical, but it has been a highlight reel up the middle between Vieira and Bear at second and short, and in center field to Charlie Collins.
Yeah, I think the defense is looking great, and I really hope to see some of these players competing in the European Championship back in March with Great Britain, as they will compete in the World Baseball Classic. Great Britain is going to be in Pool B, taking place in Houston, Dakin Park. That will be from March 6 to 11. Their opponents going to be tough: USA, Mexico, Italy, and Brazil. It's a tough pool there for Great Britain, but
however, no easy pools in the World Baseball Classic, and that is why we have them 5-3 for Ward on that 0-1 pitch to Roosevelt Estrada. Yet another 3 up, 3 down. That is now 8 in a row set down by the new GB hurler. He is doing all he can. Can the offense break through against the brilliant Guillen? We'll find out in a moment.
Está ready.
Bottom of the 5th inning here in Rotterdam, as the game getting ready to go on the other field. That is Spain-Croatia, the other quarterfinal. More on that in a moment as Guillen steps in. Ball hit to the right-hand side by Cole Leclerc, and that is 4-3 on the first pitch.
Guillorme
out swinging.
Guillorme looking very sure-handed out there at second base, as it sounds like the lineups between the Netherlands and Croatia are happening on field 1. The winner of this game, quarterfinal between Great Britain and Spain, will face the winner of the Netherlands versus Croatia. That's going to start here in 2 minutes. The other semifinal has been set in stone, with Italy beating Germany 1-0 today, and then Czech Republic beating Israel. So Czech Republic and Italy will face off tomorrow in one of the semifinals.
Ball popped straight up on 0-1 by Chris Bear. Will it stay in? No. Lands on the batting cages just behind the Spanish dugout, so 0-2 on Bear. So already the hunt for the title is down to 6 teams, and in a few hours it'll be down just to 4.
Feels like this week has flown by.
It really has. Considering it is baseball now, morning, afternoon, and night, it makes for long but very enjoyable days, and all of us are in the position where we're sort of tired and happy as Bear drills this ball by far the furthest he's hit a ball, but like all other balls, unless you send him down the lines, no chance. That's about a 400-foot out by Chris Bear,
Yeah.
380, 390.
Guillen once again trying to disrupt his timing. Didn't quite work as Bear really got all of that one, but the ball just not flying like it has, and an easy out there for the center fielder, Frank Hernandez.
So Hernandez walked in his, I was completely off
Ward.
base. Yes. Flown to Hernandez. Ward, there we go. Thank you. As I was saying, these are quite long days, if very enjoyable and happy days. Matthew Ward walked in his only appearance. One count to him. Ball bounced down the third base line. Colmenares coming in, making a great play. Throws across his body. 3 up, 3 down. And Guillen has retired 9 in a row. Has only given up 1 hit through 5 innings. What an incredible job by him, Milan.
Yeah, Guillen's looking very comfortable out there on the mound, and it seems like nothing is facing him. Really just attacking these hitters and getting a lot of strikeouts and weak contact. That's really the only ball that was very well hit was the double by Charlie Collins in the second inning, and then that fly ball by Chris Bear, which was right at the center fielder.
So we are through 5 full innings. Spain 5 of its own runs. And we'll be back to tell you about the top of the 6 in a moment. New pitcher for Great Britain in the 6th inning is Donovan Benoit. Benoit returns from the 2023 World Baseball Classic team and has already appeared in this tournament. We'll tell you more about him in a moment, and in the meantime, we can wrap up Ryan Long's day.
Yeah, Long, who came in the 3rd inning, did a great job for Great Britain to help him stay in this game as he went 2.2 innings in which he allowed no hits, no runs, no walks, and struck out 2. Really did all that Marcelino could ask for there in the Great Britain dugout.
In fact, amongst the list of things he did give up was exactly nothing. 8 straight batters retired.
He did, however, throw a wild pitch in his first batter faced, resulting in a run to score, but that run obviously on the bill of Nick Wells, the starting pitcher who had loaded the bases full.
And the 1-0 pitch squirts out of the glove of Cresswell, but no one on base, so does not matter. Benoit has been in a crucial part of the Great Britain national team, appearing in the World Baseball Classic qualifiers. In his debut, he entered with a 3-1 lead over Germany and quickly got 2 outs, including Lucas Dunn, who's playing in this 2025 European Championship. Struck him out. Pitched in onto the 6th and 7th inning, and then in the game against Spain, which we've talked a little bit about, came in with a 9-8 deficit against the Spanish and went 1-2-3 against 3 players who were longtime members and were surprises not to be on this roster. Oscar Angulo, Angel Beltre, and Noelvi Marte with strikeouts of the latter two. And here he gets a strikeout of the disbelieving Colmenares.
Colmenares out for the second time today, 1-3 at a sac bunt, and singled in the third, and now strikes out looking. It brings up the catcher, Gabriel Lino, who struck out looking his last time up. Let's see how he fares here against Benoit.
0 for 2 thus far in the game.
Benoit, a former Cincinnati Reds prospect, signed with them in 2021. He got released earlier this year.
So the game is now Benoit's. He came out of the game in that World Baseball Classic qualifier as the GB team tied it up, so did not get the win, but got them to the position where the Lions could push over the winning run. So remembered fondly for that. Now here pitching once again with the game against Spain on the line. He had a great 3-inning tune-up against France early in the tournament. 3 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, no walks, 2 Ks. And will be relied on once more to throw strikes and get through the GB, get GB through the 6th inning with the count 1-1.
Lino has been taking some big hacks today, as that one was a big swing as well. Yet another big swing. Count moves to 1-2.
His first ball hit it more or less exactly where Chris Bear hit his hit a couple batters ago in the bottom of the 5th. Dead left center field. An absolute graveyard out there. Pretty much no matter how hard one hits, when we've seen balls absolutely torched by Bear, Lino, and Martin Mujic of Czech Republic, and just no dice there. Instead, a line drive down the left field line into the corner. It'll rattle around. The left fielder, Matt Ward, picks it up, fires it in, and that is a 1-out double for Lino.
Taking the big swings there, paid off as Lino hits that hard towards the left fielder, past the left fielder, and Lino is now on second base with 1 out in the inning.
Frank Hernandez stepping up, a bunt hit and an F9 thus far. So 1 for 2 is Hernandez. Very strong tournament for the, I believe, Spanish Baseball League average leader, or very close, 464 hitter. 15 doubles, 4 home runs. That's 19 extra base hits in 26 games. That is phenomenal production.
And that is hitting in the 9th spot here for
Exactly.
Team Spain.
We talked about how Spain's office is widely regarded as one of the best, if not the best, in the tournament. It's because of attributes like that, as Hernandez takes a 1-0 pitch and then fouls off a ball.
I was talking to Team Kingdom of the Netherlands, Coach Mike Duursma earlier today, as we have worked together coaching the Rabbits Baseball Academy. And he was asking me what I had seen on the other fields and how every team is looking, and I said this Spanish lineup is something to worry about. And if Spain were to win here and the Netherlands were to win on field 1, that is what the Netherlands is going to have to worry about tomorrow. But can't assume that's going to happen, as we still got a lot of baseball left on both fields.
This ball bounced to second base. The ever sure-handed Max Vieira onto first base, 4-3. Relatively close play given the wheels of Hernandez, but nothing doing as Lino advances to third base. So runner on third, first scoring threat since the third for Spain, turning the lineup back over to Omar Hernandez. Hernandez 1 for 3 with a run.
So one Hernandez retired. Another Hernandez trying to collect an RBI with Gabriel Lino now at third base.
Benoit, many years ago, attended the same university that I did for one of my degrees. That was the University of Tennessee, Southeastern Conference. Was a rookie with them, appeared in 15 games nonetheless, as this ball wild and will allow the run to score. So the 0-1 pitch delivered, and it is a not caught, nor easily would have been, and that makes it 6-0 Spain. So base is empty now and 2 down, but yet another run in for Spain. GB's hold deepens. You can see on our stream that we have some interesting clouds, and you can tell we almost have a bit of sunset, but it's very low, heavy cloud cover, tinged purple and pink. Interesting thing, though, I would say, Milan, having done an early morning game today, it doesn't feel as cold here in the night game as it did earlier up in the press box with the swirling winds.
Yeah, it's field 2 is a nice setup with us being shaded from the wind. In the stadium, we got some wind.
And this ball is line to left field, so GB out of the inning. 1 run scores on the double. And that is all. GB down 6-0 to Spain. We'll be back for more in a moment.
As Guillen is back out for his 6th inning of work, facing this Great Britain lineup that has yet to score a run. Let's see if they can change something here in the bottom of the 6th. With the top of the lineup, Max Vieira up to bat.
And he fouls the 1-0 pitch off. Really important that GB gets the top of its order working. Vieira has the potential to really make a difference given his game-changing speed and his surprising power given his frame. He looks like he's about 5'8" or so. Probably 170, 160. All lean muscle. Has played a fantastic second base thus far, but has also shown gap power. Swing and a miss though on a changeup from Guillen.
That gap power you're talking about shown in his stats as he hit 21 doubles, 3 triples, and 5 home runs this year with High Point. It's pretty good stats, collecting 53 RBIs. He was an important player there for the Rockers in the Atlantic League.
Ball fouled off, so still 1-2. Saying hello to Craig Savage, who is listening to today's ball game. Recent inductee into the British Baseball Hall of Fame after a long career with the Brighton club, which hosted the Final Four of the National Baseball League in Britain for a long time. One of the very first managers and the first domestic manager to ever enter the Hall of Fame in the 16 classes that have been inducted. So great to have Craig down here for a single game. He and former GB assistant coach Will Linton flew in for the day to see old teammate Liam Carroll, now bench coach for GB, as this ball fouled down the line in this 6-pitch at-bat. At one point, we had a total of 6 former British coaches here, all supporting the GB staff. And when I say that GB has a large traveling contingent, that is true at many levels. but it's great also to see lots of fans from Spain. Spain, I think, given the distance, has had probably the most surprising amount of fans. It's very easy to get to the Netherlands from Britain. It's much more time-consuming, even if flying from Spain. But there have been so many red and gold hats as Vieira pokes a ball into left center field. It'll get into the alley, but not quite deep enough for a double. However, Vieira breaks up a streak of 9 consecutive batters retired by Guillen. Could this be Milan, the straw that breaks the camel's back for GB?
I mean, it's definitely a start, and I think getting the leadoff guy on with a solid base hit up the middle shows some signs of improvement here from the Great Britain offense. And I think that it's going to be important to see what Nick Ward does here.
Nick Ward stepping in, GB's most consistent power and hit threat across multiple tournaments now. You heard my recap of his jaw-dropping 2023 performance, 11 for 21 with 4 home runs and 2 doubles. Also 5 walks in that, as he reached base nearly 60% of the time, had more than 1,000 slugging percentage. In disbelief, as so many batters have at the cold strike 1. Would you believe at Milan that a pitcher can throw a first pitch cold strike? It's truly a sight to believe here in this Spain GB game. You'll forgive my amusement here. We've had a lot of that in this game.
Speaking about people that were here to support former teammates and players, does the name Wes Rumer ring a bell for you?
It certainly does. I have a Wes Rumer baseball card. I have the exact same one you do. TriStar Projections 2006, I want to say off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think you're right. Cal Fullerton State alum and longtime minor leaguer with the Diamondbacks organization, then moved to Europe and pitched in Germany for a while, currently a manager for a team in Czech Republic. And he came out to support some of his German friends as well as his buddies from Czech.
Great to have Wes Rumer here. He, as the pitch goes low, has a great Dutch name, although I think Rumer is Flemish rather than Netherlandish.
I think you're right.
Totally sure, but the Belgian national team, if I'm not incorrect, had another Rumer at one point. Always fun to have legends come back and join, and we've got plenty of them in the house. Adam Jones, the hitting coach for Spain, as his pitcher Guillen comes set. Ward drives this with authority into the right field corner. That's well over the head of the right fielder Omar Hernandez. Ward into second base. He is fired up, does a little two-step, and then drinks the imaginary cup of tea. That is the hit that I was suggesting could be coming, and it is exactly what GB needed. Runners on second and third base. That is one of the better swings we've seen of the tournament.
Yeah, Ward got a pitch he looked for and was able to ambush it. One hop the fence in right field, and this is a big spot for Great Britain as they got 2 runners in scoring position and no out. With the meat of their order coming up next, they could really come back in this game right here if they put together some hits right now.
That's 3-4-5. Will Cresswell, Charlie Collins, Quinn Allen up. Creswell will be a great time for him to break out of not so much a slump as he's hitting the ball hard, but just finally able to find a spot. 2 for 14 in this tournament, though plenty of barreled stuff just right at fielders thus far.
Speaking about Major League players being here in Rotterdam for the European Championship, Joe Terdoslavic on Team Croatia, RBI double to give them a 1-0 lead already in the top of the first on field 1 going on right now.
Dream start for Croatia as 2 catchers, a pitcher, and what I believe is a coach head down to the Spanish bullpen. And Cresswell takes a second pitch, 0-2. He's shown a real willingness to go down 0-2 or 1-2 and not really worry about it. But never an ideal position, particularly with Guillen's changeup. I think we're likely to see either a low fastball or a changeup from Guillen, who slowed the pace down as the runners on base. And he steps off. Cresswell stays in the box, though. Dangles the bat, then picks it up, swings it around slowly, waiting for Guillen to get ready. This shows just a subtle shift in momentum. It's still on Spain's side, but it's noticeably ticking back towards GB. If you think of some kind of meter registering power, it's flicking towards GB. And cold strike 3. Cresswell just wasn't expecting that, but unlike the Spanish hitters, turns around and walks back to his dugout.
Meanwhile, Guillen gets the Spanish dugout very excited with that backwards K.
Last thing GB wants is for the Spanish dugout to get into this one, because they can make a lot of noise, and not all of it particularly favorable if you speak much Spanish.
No, definitely. I've heard some cuss words that probably should not be repeated on air.
We will not, and this is a classic gambit of Spanish-speaking teams, is the awareness that many people do not speak Spanish. However, a coach would argue whatever it takes to get the team fired up, as we get a Spanish player running down from the bullpen to say he's ready to the dugout. 0-1 pitch now, taken by Collins down low.
Meanwhile, Guillen only at 77 pitches, so he's still got some gas left in the tank.
5 1/3 innings, 77 pitches for him. He's facing Collins, who is just scorching hot. Had a double into the right field corner that was wasted in the second inning. Spain then immediately jumped on GB's pitcher for 5 runs. Ball, looked outside, but was called a strike. You won't hear me disagreeing, though, as the umpires have done a great job. Players running back and forth to the bullpen for Spain. Collins thus far a whopping 6 for 12 in this tournament. Add that on top of his European under-23 performances, he fouls a ball off. And he is 10 for 25 in his career as a GB hitter. That is a 400 average. .400 average. 3 doubles and a triple. Spain sprinting players back and forth, up, down, up, down, up, down. Very active bullpen, at least for the runners, as we do not have bullpens phones here. And Collins fouls this one off again.
I do believe one of those players we saw running up and down is number 2, Andres Angelo, who has served as a pinch hitter earlier in the tournament, so he may just be getting his legs loose in case a pinch runner is needed.
True, the Angulos, the Oscar, and now we have the younger of those, Andres, longtime mainstays of the program. 1-2 count taken low and outside. So Collins and the rest of the GB lineup this inning making Guillen work hard. Pitch count now over 80. He's used a lot of bullets in those innings, entered with fewer than 70 pitches through 5 innings, now over 80 pitches, and gotta think if he doesn't get out of this soon, it won't be his to get out of, despite how well he has pitched. No point in leaving him out there in this do-or-die quarterfinal match. Fastball, everyone wearing red wanted it. Guillen, in absolute disbelief, walks off the mound as if told shocking news.
Home plate umpire there, Kevin Muzik, pointing that the ball missed away. Not quite sure if I agree looking at the video on our screen, but obviously the camera not quite on center, as it is a little bit shaded towards right center field.
For all that we have a much improved camera angle, can't actually see home plate in this angle, as it is from a fairly low height. So it makes it a little bit difficult to tell. We're trying to give you our best, but we are, of course, down the right field line. If this camera angle right now gives you an idea, actually, of what we're facing from the broadcast booth, we're a little bit we're essentially on the right-hand side of your screen. If the camera would pan right, it would just pick up the edge of our enclosure. And I think this may be all for Guillen. Just an absolutely sensational start. And in any other game in a regular season, probably get a mound visit and be ready to go. Here, this might be it. No second chances, really. Even up 6-0. I might have said 5-0 an inning ago, but of course Spain adding another one in the top half of the sixth. But indeed, Guillen has talked his way into this one, I think.
Yeah, and I do believe that was pitching coach Manny Oliveira, who has also spent some time pitching in the Netherlands back in 2004 when he was with the ADO Lakers. That was right before he signed with the Miami Marlins organization. Head coach, obviously, and Nelson Prada, who is currently with the Marlins organization as their Double-A manager for the Pensacola Blue Wahoos.
The blue wahoo, of course, a type of fish rather than a yahoo. Probably not slang that's known much anymore. It's, a yahoo is an old-fashioned American slang word that is kind of more like a more friendly way of saying idiot, but kind of like the way you'd call your friend an idiot. Like, he was being a bit of a yahoo. A blue wahoo, on the other hand, one of the Caribbean fish. So just a little bit of North American knowledge there. I hear you've been enjoying the fact that someone with a Dutch accent, Milan, my counterpart, and someone with an English accent have been teaching you all sorts of things you probably didn't know about college ball, mascots, and the flora and fauna of North America.
There you go. Meanwhile, we had Coach Marcelino in the Great Britain dugout have a little chat with his base runners and hitter Quinn Allen.
GB has taken advantage on any timeout by the opposition to have a full-scale conference. Everyone involved. Marcelino, the hitting coordinator for the Arizona Diamondbacks, as Allen gets a hold of the ball, pokes it well into the corner. Will it stay foul? It will not. If that had, I think we might have seen 4 for the first time in a couple days. Instead, that is the best ball that Allen has hit all tournament. If he can straighten that out, things would be very, very different in this ball game.
Yeah, that definitely had a chance to go, but pulled it just foul, and as a result, the count moves to 0-2, and all of a sudden Guillen is in the driver's seat here.
For all that good, really great teams often seem to win the championships that everyone expects them to win, what I think I have found to be true, Milan, is that every great team at least once needs a big comeback in a game somewhere leading up to the championship that kind of tests its mettle and shows that it can fight back. And if GB is going to win this European Championship, this is the game where, well, if it doesn't come back, it's not going to have a chance to win a title. But if it does, it might be just the thing to give it the adversity that is required to overcome to progress further.
Speaking about comebacks, Team Kingdom of the Netherlands on the other field has made a little comeback as the game is now tied after 1 inning.
So thriller happening in the other quarterfinal. Wow, on a 1-2 pitch that looked extremely low. By far the lowest strikeout we have seen in this. What we cannot necessarily tell is movement over the plate from this angle. Quinn Allen ruled out looking.
Runner at second base, Nick Ward in disbelief, taking off his helmet.
There have been now one call on each side, I'd say, where I think the teams actually had reason to be shocked. That one, and don't hear this as criticism of our really hard-working and pleasant umpiring staff. That one, to me, looked low, but I'm not standing behind the plate. I'm down, not even on the field, out in shallow, foul right field, but I can understand how anyone not standing behind home plate might have something to say about that one.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing a pretty hard job, and it's not easy to get every call right. During my coaching days, I had to umpire a lot of inter squads from behind the mound, and also got a lot of trash talk from the players hitting, which was quite an interesting experience.
I had the distinct lack of enjoyment to umpire exactly one game in my life. Durham University 1 versus Durham University 2s back when I started that team in 2016. A big swing and a miss on a changeup. That changeup making an appearance again to Julian Sanders. Really crucial that Guillen gets that pitch established because we have not seen a good changeup in this inning until now.
Yeah, and I think Guillen is kind of putting on some extra gear, you know. He's getting ready to get out of this jam that he kind of put himself into. Me and Jamie noticed this yesterday with Roy Hernandez. Every time a runner got on, he threw a little harder, and it looks like Guillen is doing the same thing. As Fernando Baez, you're hearing, get very excited about the ball that he fielded to protect his relief pitcher warming up.
And you know what? To protect us as well, I'm going to say. I know how much the teams care about the good press that they get, so always good to have Spain looking out for us too. Wink, wink, nod, nod. Back to umpiring. It's just an intra-squad game. My career to that point, I'd even done very little coaching, plenty of playing, and a lot more writing and broadcasting. And I don't think I've ever been so stressed. The only other time I can think of that I was so stressed in the moment was photographing my best friend's wedding.
That's a nervous.
Umpiring just as bad as this ball popped up to the right-hand side. Ustares over. He catches the ball, and GB leaves the bases loaded in the bottom of the sixth. Could that be the inning that makes all the difference for GB?
Guillen over there, very excited, celebrating, getting out of that jam, putting up the 0 once again. 6 of those in a row. We're going to see how this momentum that's on Spanish side here carries over to the top of the 7th. We'll be right back.
Vaya cerito que tiraba ahí, ¿eh? Varón, dentro.
We are through 2/3 of the game, and Spain with a chokehold on Great Britain in a rematch of the 2023 European Baseball Championship. I'm Gabriel Fiedler alongside Milan van der Breggen. Thus far, there is no story other than Spain just in total control of this one.
Yeah, their offense got going there in the 3rd inning with Nick Wells losing command and putting up 5 runs that inning, and then 1 more last inning in the top of the 6th. They're up to a 6-0 lead, and Great Britain not able to get anything across despite having runners in scoring position last half inning.
And Spain will send up Luis Guillorme, Wander Encarnacion, and Jesus Ustares against Orioles right-hander Ryan Long. Long gave up a double into the left field corner last time. That run scoring on a wild pitch. Otherwise, 3 easy outs.
I do believe that was Benoit on the mound
I apologize. You're absolutely right. This is Benoit. Thank you for the correction there.
who came in to relieve Long, who had a great day for Great Britain. Guillorme takes a strike there. As the count moves to 1-2.
So Spain 6, GB nothing.
Guillorme was never much of a hitter in the big leagues. Definitely known for his defense, and his defense is still there. Me and Gabriel were talking about it earlier this game. His glove just seems like it works automatically, and he doesn't have to try hard for it at all. Every play he makes looks very effortless, very clean.
And here could do a job and set the table as the 2-hitter for Spain. 2 and 2 to him.
You remember when Guillorme went viral for a play he made in the dugout catching a bat that went flying?
Yeah, can pick it no matter where he is on the diamond. And a nice fastball, but misses just outside by Donovan Benoit. So that is ball 4, and he takes the trot to first base. So full count work to Guillorme, bringing up Wander Encarnacion 0 for 3 with a run in this game. Great to have many of you checking in on Twitter to us and sending messages. Greetings to former GB coach Cam McHarg. Also to the Ward family. Not sure actually if that's Nick Ward or Matthew Ward's family, as that is a cold strike on the 1-0 count. We also have a Let's Go Spain checking in. So great to have many of you following along. Buenas tardes to those of you joining from España or from Venezuela or the República Dominicana. I've enjoyed watching the national teams of those countries in multiple World Baseball Classics and look forward to seeing you all again. The energy that Caribbean fans bring to the World Baseball Classic is second to none in the Americas, and when that combines with East Asian organized crowds, songs, and support, it's just a beautiful thing. As cold strike 3 on Encarnacion. Benoit looking much more comfortable in this inning, despite the leadoff walk.
When he walked the first guy after a good battle with Guillorme, and punches out Encarnacion here with the strikeout looking. Benoit looking to put up a 0 here as Great Britain still trying to regain that momentum.
And Ustariz stepping in. 2 walks and a strikeout, so has not yet made contact in fair territory with the ball. In fact, has not made contact this game. Only called or swinging strikes or balls to him, but he's seen plenty of them. 13 pitches through 3 ABs. He's 2 for 11 in this tournament, but has 4 walks and a hit by pitch, so 438 slugging, plus he has gone yard. Over the last 3 European Championships, he's really turned it up. 19 for 59, that's a 322 average. 4 doubles and 2 home runs in those 16 games. 9 walks, 2 hit by pitches as he bounces the ball through the left-hand side. GB hoping for a double play, and Chris Bear shaded well over towards second base, otherwise would have had that. So single through the left-hand side. Spain once again with something going here, Milan.
Yeah, I mean, a good piece of hitting there by Ustariz as he kind of chopped there through the 6 hole, putting 2 runners on base. 1 down. Meanwhile, off camera, we got something you don't see every day going on, as we got 2 Spain players playing catch in between security, press, and everyone else down here at the first base dugout area.
Never a bad time for a little game of catch, including at the old bowl game. We're here in Rotterdam at Familiestadion. What I find to be quite interesting is that the crowd has not dissipated much since the Netherlands game starting. Certainly many of them coming over here before that game, but still packed bleachers and a handful of people standing around. So I'd say we have going on 100 people in attendance at this one.
Also about 100 coats and
Yes.
say about 50 beanies. As everyone is well prepared for this chilly evening.
That's right. So 0-1 count now as Benoit steps off and twists around. The old twist but no shout from Benoit, whose university career, including Summer Bowl, started in 2018. He was drafted in the 10th round as this pitch goes to the backstop and allows Encarnacion to advance to second.
Benoit looked like he just kind of flew open on that one and yanked that pitch all the way in the left-handed batter's box. Crespo did not have a shot at keeping that in front of him, and as a result, the runners from first and second advance to second and third. 2 runners in scoring position, 1 down. Let's see what Edison Valerio can do here for Team Spain. Valerio, who led the Spanish Baseball League with 10 home runs in 2025.
Valerio, a real power threat at shortstop for the Tenerife Marlins. Benoit very nearly teammates as this ball low and in the dirt with another World Baseball Classic teammate for GB, Benoit, appearing in the 2023 World Baseball Classic, and that's Ian Gibaut in the Reds organization. The ball bounced foul down the left-hand side. The two similar ages, Benoit a year or so older than Gibaut. Still 1-1 on the main field, but Croatia 3 hits thus far in the game. We saw in the game earlier today that Hrvatska certainly can hit it, and they are a team to watch. That was yesterday, I should say. They're a team to watch.
Netherlands going with starting pitcher Lars Heijer. So we got some arguments going on here.
Cold strike 3 as Valerio ducks out. That pitch was certainly inside. Impossible to tell from this angle whether that was inside or not, but rung up to the disbelief of Spain, which has a 6-0 lead here with 2 out in the 7th. Benoit's looked very cool and collected. He looks like the veteran pitcher that he is out there. Although he has certainly not been flawless, at least does not look in any way rattled, Milan.
No, he looks very loose out there, and he's just kind of whipping it in there, which that's what you want out of your pitching staff, and I think Benoit's doing a very nice job of limiting hard contact.
Great job by our cameraman Yuri to work on the spots as the second stadium here, difficult with the lights to always get a clear shot, but hope you're appreciating the effort to improve as we go on. European Baseball Championship is, of course, the top level in the continent. It's a big swing and a miss and a fastball low for the players, but it is, of course, the highest opportunity for broadcasters, camera crews, technicians, groundskeepers, and a whole host of other people, of the dozens and dozens and dozens of volunteers making the European Baseball Championship work. That's just listing those here in Rotterdam, to say nothing of anyone else. Benoit finishes with back-to-back strikeouts. He looks completely locked in. 3 strikeouts looking in that inning. And this is the disadvantage of running very high on confidence, is that if you don't think that the pitchers are going in your favor, you may not swing and you may look at strike after strike. And that's what happened in this inning for Spain.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the Spanish lineup kind of overexcited maybe. I think as a baseball team it's important to not get overexcited or over down on yourself. Just got to kind of ride in the middle instead of going up and down, especially in a long baseball season or a short tournament like this. Being able to be consistent and not get super emotional is what makes the good teams great, and I think the Spanish team is getting a little over emotional here. We'll see how that works out for them as we'll introduce a new pitcher to them, to you guys, for the Spanish national team after the break. As Pablo Guillen's done is over after 6 innings of shutout baseball in which he allowed 4 hits, 2 walks, and 8 strikeouts. We get a new pitcher for Team Spain. That is Carlos Sierra, number 34, from Cabaiguan, Cuba. He is currently a free agent as he was with the Houston Astros organization between 2016 and 18. Delivers a first pitch ball here as he's facing Cole Leclerc.
I had to look down at the roster when you said Cabaiguan, and Milan, I'm very impressed. That's it even gave me trouble reading that. It took me a couple of tries before I came out with that. So well done working through multiple languages, and of course you're broadcasting in your second language. For all that I feel pretty confident pronouncing most other languages in Europe, discussing them is another one, and when one speaks a Germanic language and is pronouncing Romance languages, just great job. I want to make a little fuss of my counterpart here, who's also done a fantastic job producing mini media guides for 14 of the 16 teams. My goodness. Thank you very much, Milan. Really fantastic to have you. You've added a lot to this Euros.
Yeah, it's been fun so far.
2-1 pitch is in there for a strike, and the looping fly ball off the left-hand side as the count goes to 2-2. In between innings, I spoke with GB first base coach and base running coach Jeff Salazar. Jeff says, "Hi, Mum," if you're listening. So great to have family and friends from around the world as Leclerc waves at what looks like a changeup, and a nice one from Carlos Sierra.
Jeff Salazar, the first base coach, also another one of those former big leaguers here in Rotterdam as he spent some time with the Diamondbacks and Rockies in the early 2000s.
So we have Carlos Sierra, who has been a long-time member of the national team staff and of the Spanish Baseball League. Although he's from Cuba, he moved to Spain in 2015 and has been with them ever since. Played in the Serie Nacional, one of the top amateur leagues in the world. That's Cuba Serie Nacional. It's actually been renamed recently, but more familiar by that name. And had a grandfather from Spain and pursued that and has been a key member since. He's played for the Marlins for 11 years now and has been one of the team's key pitchers, and joined the team for the 2016 World Baseball Classic qualifiers. And he gets back-to-back players via the K. Chris Bear going down as well.
Sierra bringing the heat so far. A lot of firm fastballs and a lot of big swings from the Great Britain bottom of the order here. I think facing the hard-throwing Sierra would not be a bad idea to shorten up and try to put something in play. As we'll see Matt Ward enter the batter's box here.
9-hole hitter for GB, 0 for 1 with a walk. Still 1-1 on the main field. Great, really exciting game there. The Dutch featuring Lars Hoyer, the former Mariners prospect, whom we covered at Mr-Baseball.com for a long time as a prospect. Sven Hoyer, his brother, a Red Sox prospect as well. So many good young players coming out of the Netherlands over the last 15 years in particular.
Sven Hoyer well over 2 meters long.
And a swing and a miss on 1-1, and Matthew Ward is down to his final strike. Could Sierra strike out the side? He's picked up exactly where Guillen has left off, and that's exactly what one wants from a long-time national teamer. Now 30 years old, but pitching as if he has even more experience. Ball popped up down the right field line. Omar Hernandez giving chase, but no real chance for him, so Ward stays alive. Spain ranked 25th in the world, GB 17, amongst the higher ranked teams in the world rankings.
As we were talking about emotions a little bit ago, with Guillen showing a lot of it, it looks like Carlos Sierra is not showing very much emotion and just kind of neutral out there on the mound.
Big change compared to Guillen, who wore his emotions on his sleeve. No doubt what he was thinking at any given point, as that 1-2 pitch is low. Just to give you an idea of those rankings, the highest ranked team in Europe is, of course, the Netherlands at 10th, Italy at 14th, Czechs at 15th, GB at 17th, Germany at 18th, Israel at 21st, they're a member of WBSC Europe and competing in this tournament. Then Spain at 23rd, and and France at 23rd, and Spain at 25. So 8 of the top 25, as this ball goes all the way to the fence, and Lino cannot find the baseball. It's not a matter of having trouble tracking it down. Couldn't even find it, and Ward was looking at second. I don't think I've ever seen at the top level of play, whether that means a continental championship or a national league, I don't think I've ever seen a player go to second on a wild pitch. We almost saw that for the first time, I think, there.
Yeah, you definitely see it in youth ball every now and then, but not at the adult level. And it was interesting to see Ward hustle down the line on that walk.
Line drive roped down the left field line on the first pitch by Max Vieira. That's the kind of swing that we've seen him pull out on his alley-to-alley power. If he's straightened one out here with the fleet-footed Matt Ward on first base, we could see GB head into the scoring column, and goodness gracious, does it need to. So a slider framed by Lino. Low and outside. Apologies.
Once again, the home plate umpire kind of flinching, almost making the call and then deciding not to at the last minute. Interesting look there from Kevin Music.
So Sierra not remotely bothered, back into action. Pounds a fastball in on the hands. Probably, from what I can think of just off of the top of my head, over about a week here, Sierra might have the best four-seam fastball we've seen, just in terms of the heaviness of it combined with the speed. It really bears down on hitters, and I haven't seen anyone get around on it yet.
Yeah, I mean, he's attacking these hitters without any fear, and it seems to be paying off.
And this ball roped to right field. It's going to hang up into the right field corner for Omar Hernandez, and Spain is out of yet another inning scoreless. Spain 6, GB nothing through 7 innings. Back in a moment. We head to the final 2 innings in this quarterfinal game. One of 2 quarterfinals going on at the moment. The other one 1-1 Croatia, Netherlands. This one 6-0 Spain over GB. We have a new pitcher, Donovan Benoit, exiting the game. Zach Cameron entering. What can we say about Cameron?
Cameron from Hamilton, Ohio. Pitched for the Ottawa Titans this year in the Frontier League. 24-year-old. Graduated from Niagara University. There we go. Signed with Ottawa in 2025 to make his pro debut. His stats on the year: 1 win, 2 losses in 36 appearances. He pitched 43.1 innings, walked 23, and struck out 37. As we are still waiting for the Spanish hitter to get in the box, there is Carlos Colmenares.
If we've seen anything this game, is that we do things when Spain wants to, and it will make the calls. Any doubts about what it is, just ask them. And this ball brushes him off on the inside plate, the him being Colmenares, as mentioned a moment ago. I just thought I'd point out before you moved on from Cameron. Cameron, the very, very rare 6-year collegiate career.
Well,
how did he do that, you might ask? Well, the 2020 season was not counted as eligibility. He then had what is called a redshirt year, wherein one is given a year that does not count but can pitch a very minimal number or play a very minimal number of games. That was either in 2021 or 2022, and then returned for 4 full seasons. So he has a very long college career. 77 career games in college is remarkable for a pitcher. Ball bounced but foul down the first base line.
Fun fact, I actually also had 6 years of eligibility, but only used 5.
Ah, interesting.
So I decided to go coach my last year.
So Cameron, 3.65 career ERA in college. Had a bit of a tough year for Ottawa in the Frontier League. The Titans. One of a long series of Ottawa-based teams. And a swing and a miss wildly at a pitch from Cameron. That is a quick out. Had Colmenares fooled on that, did Cameron. And stepping in will be Gabriel Lino.
Lino has been taking some big hacks today. Paid off in the 6th inning when he doubled. And later on scored on a wild pitch.
And he waves at a pitch and says, "No, I didn't." And the umpire in this case agrees, as do I. 1-0. Fly out K double in this game.
So it appears that Great Britain is going to try to find something to get things going, as there are some hitters hitting in the cage, maybe some pinch hitters coming up here in the bottom of the 8th. But before we get there, Cameron's got to get through this Spanish lineup.
The ball fouled off to the right-hand side, so 0-2 remains on Lino.
So we hear "Vamos Lino" from the Spanish dugout. Translating to "Let's go, Lino."
Cameron pitched against Israel 2 2/3 innings of very good relief, as this ball bounced foul in front of the GB dugout. 3 hits, 1 run. It was earned a walk and a K against Israel 4 nights ago.
Game that Great Britain won 16-1.
And looking for some of that firepower here as the debutant for the Union flag wearing team fires in low and outside. That was a
The Great Britain bats early on in this tournament very hot. 9 runs in the first game, 16 in the second. Sorry, 3 runs in the first, 16 in the second, and 9 in the third game they played. And then 2 days off, and all of a sudden, 7 innings of shutout baseball.
And this ball popped to the right-hand side. Julian Sanders coming in. He calls off Max Vieira, who does a great job at listening and moving out of the way. That is F9. Could have been a scary collision if not.
Yeah, and we've seen some people struggle with the lighting on this second field here, as the light posts are somewhat low compared to the main stadium, where we got a very nice LED light situation, lights that can flicker to celebrate a home run, and very exciting stuff going on there. But the lights on field 2 not quite as high. If the ball gets above those lights, may be tricky for outfielders to pick them up, and we've seen some balls get down.
Very good point. And in fact, in general, I think that the outfield has been more of a story in this tournament in terms of defense for 2 reasons. One, so many outfielders have struggled with the winds, while on the other hand, we've seen a series of just superb defensive center fielders. Leo Geminiar stands out in particular for France as just a superb center fielder. Bat breaks. Max Vieira fields the ball, gets it out of his glove. 4-3, no damage done as Cameron jumps out of the way. 3 up, 3 down. Just to finish the thought before we head to the bottom of the 8th, Charlie Collins for GB, also another really, really superb center fielder. The center fielder also for Israel, whose name as I flip through my
Itai Spinoza.
Itai Spinoza, who's done just a fantastic job. Also jumping out to me as a very, very quality fielder. And then Marek Krejcierzik for the Czech team, all playing center field as if the entire outfield was theirs to cover. And I've really enjoyed that. I don't know about you, Milan.
Yeah, it's fun to see, and I think as a former pitcher, actually current pitcher, having an outfielder that can cover a lot of ground is very valuable, especially being the center fielder covering both gaps. I think that's a big part of why these teams are having success and why they're here.
That's exactly right. Couple right fielders to mention as well. GB's right fielder Julian Sanders also playing a strong right field, especially with the lights pooling in right field. When we look out to our rights in the broadcast booth, the right fielder for Spain, Omar Hernandez, is standing in a giant pool of shadow here. I don't mean total darkness, but it's been really tricky. And the right fielders who've played a few times have stood out. But the right fielder, to me, that has stood out above everyone else is the Netherlands' Delano Salasa, who just has mind-bending range in center field. He patrols essentially the right-hand half of the field. If it's green, Salasa has the ball.
Yeah, and that's interesting because he played the majority of the regular season at shortstop, playing right field for Team Kingdom of the Netherlands, with the Netherlands obviously having Didi Gregorius patrolling over at shortstop. But yeah, Salasa not playing in his main position, doing a very nice job out there and getting some help from Ray Patrick Ditter, the former AAA player, doing a nice job in center field as well.
Can any team, any country outside of the Americas produce middle infielders like the Netherlands can? I don't know, but Salasa being put not even into center field, but into right field, as there are just so many talented infielders for the Oranje.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that the World Baseball Classic usually shows how many shortstops are there on the Dutch roster, as Jurgen Prover used to be a shortstop, always played in the outfield during those games, currently an outfielder for the Braves. We had Didi Gregorius play at first base in the recent edition of the World Baseball Classic. Xander Bogaerts obviously at shortstop, and
but played third in his initial appearances. The first time in his career he ever played third.
And then when he became a big $1 million guy at shortstop, Andrelton Simmons decided to move over to third base. And a lot of shortstops just able to play everywhere on that infield, and it's very fun to watch.
And that's to say nothing of all the second basemen, the Scope brothers, one of whom now regularly plays at first base, as there's simply no room in the inn for them. Nick Ward flies the ball to the left-hand side off of the fist, and it hangs up. Didn't really get a lot of that, but still gave it a pretty good poke. Not far enough, though, Milan.
No, that just kind of cued in the left field, and left fielder Wander Encarnacion running in order to make that catch. First out recorded by the Spaniards.
So big cheering going on the other field. That's not for us. What has happened, we'll tell you in just a moment. Don't switch over. Stay with Milan and us. We're the best. To put all joking aside, we're really grateful for those of you who are joining. I have had some clarification from the Ward family. It is the M Ward family, that is Matthew Ward in GB's left field, while the dad of Julien Monk has been really offering us multiple nice things to say on Twitter, as he says, love your broadcast. So that's very kind, Monsieur Monk. And a cold strike on 2-0 to Will Cresswell. GB down to 5 outs now and needing 6 runs in those 5 outs, showing no real signs of breaking through against Carlos Sierra or any pitcher Spain cares to throw. And this ball slapped to the left-hand side. What a play by the slick-handed Valerio. Speaking of rich middle infield talent, Valerio pushing the Tampa Bay Rays prospect Colmenares to third base. He has that position locked up for Tenerife and for Spain, ranging across his body to third or first. That's the best play we've seen out of the shortstop hole.
Yeah, very nice running play there, going to his backhand and making the throw and a run. Throw right on the money, hit Jesus Ustaris at first base on the chest, and 2 quick outs here for Sierra in his second inning of work.
And stepping in with a big swing and a miss is Charlie Collins, but if anyone's shown that a swing can change a game for GB, it's Collins. He and Ward have been the drivers at the top half of the lineup. Julian Sanders contributing lower down. Monsieur Monk has an interesting question for the two of us. Referring to the disappointing French loss to Austria earlier, as the 0-2 pitch comes in, and a changeup. What a filthy pitch.
Yeah, that was a nasty off-speed pitch there from Sierra, and Charlie Collins swung right through it to record the third out of this bottom of the eighth. Great Britain down to their last 3 outs. It's going to be now or never in the bottom of the ninth, but before we get there, we got the top of the ninth coming up next. We'll be right back after the break.
We return for the final frame here in the penultimate quarterfinal. Rally caps on around the fan supporters for GB. Benji from @T-Backs podcast and Joey Mellows @Baseball Brit right in front of us with their hats on upside down, cheering for GB, doing anything they can to swing the luck the Lions' way. It'll be Cameron returning to the mound after a fantastic 1-2-3, and here we have a ball blooped over the infield. It's swirling and moving in, providing some real damage, and it drops, and just an incredible base running by Luis Guillorme, who ends up on second with what can only be called a double.
Yeah, I don't think that was Guillorme. I think it was Omar Hernandez, the leadoff hitter. But very nice hustle there from the leadoff guy. And that's something you don't see all the time. You see a lot of, especially young baseball players, kind of lazy these days. And very nice to see him run hard out of the box and go to second, knowing that there's wind, knowing that a high pop-up with mediocre lights can cause some trouble. And as a result, he's on second base as a leadoff hitter, putting Guillorme in the spot to drive him in.
Never slowed down as this ball lined deep to left field. Can this get out? The wind has got up. It will not. It will bounce off of the wall into Matt Ward's waiting hands, and that is a stand-up double, back-to-back doubles, one of the infield variety, one of the outfield variety. Spain getting that offense moving once again.
Yeah, very nice swing there by Guillorme. And it seems like this Spanish team is ready to erupt as another back-to-back doubles add another run. They're now up 7-0. And Great Britain's chances of winning are slimming down as the clock keeps ticking.
Now, we should have mentioned this before, but it has only just happened over the break. Winds really swirling, having been really pretty still. The stillest, really, we've seen them on field, too. Looking out at the field, in particular, the umpire's trousers flapping like a flag in the breeze. And this has really distinctly affected play in this inning because the infield double solely wind-aided. The outfield double somehow, looking at the way the wind is blowing, I think, although it is blowing mostly in, it is also blowing at the lower levels towards the left field side. And looking at the tree that's above left field, it's blowing towards the left field line. And I think that ball just got caught in that jet stream, carried a little bit longer than it would have normally, and over the head of Matt Ward, who could do nothing with the wind about it. 0-2 count now, though, to Daniel Jimenez, who is out 6-3. He came in for Wonder Encarnacion in the last inning as a defensive replacement. Does not move the runner over. So winds suddenly swirling, Spain taking advantage, and it is now 7-0 Spain in the 9th inning. Jesus Ustariz, who's reached base 3 times, 2 walks and a hit to the plate. Four for 14 as rain coming down now. All of a sudden, started in the last roughly minute.
Big swing there by Ustariz. Guillorme, as you could see on camera there, looking at the sky like, hey, what's this stuff coming out of there? As it had been a while since we had seen rain. A lot of rain on day 1 and 2 of this tournament in Rotterdam. First time since that the rain is coming out of the sky. Luckily, it's only a light little drizzle. Not much that's going to affect the play.
Suspect we will see this one finished off with no problem. Just makes it a little less enjoyable for the players. I'm very glad that we have a press box built for us in this tournament. Although I suspect that both Milan and Czech pitcher Ondřej Furka would have been much happier if it was built out of Lego. I stumbled on them having, excuse me, this was actually Joey the Baseball Brit. This was right after I saw Milan in between games as the punch out of Jesus Ustariz. I caught the two of them having a discussion about Lego, and I don't know if you saw Czech Baseball Czech's post yesterday, but the Czech team exploring the Netherlands. What did Ondřej Sartoria do? He went to the Lego shop in Amsterdam. So, you know, go to another country, you go to the Lego shop.
Well, I mean, if you strike out Shohei Ohtani in the World Baseball Classic, I think you can do whatever you want.
Yes. I think that is actually a pretty good marker for that. A lot of these Spanish players feeling like they've struck out Shohei Ohtani, given their swagger on the field, and it's carrying them all the way through. All they need to do now is score as many runners as they plan to in the top half and then go get out of the bottom with fewer than 7 runs, and they have done it. It is 1-0 now to Edison Valerio.
And that wind's really blowing out. The rain is coming down. You can really see which direction it's going. Looking at the light pole behind Valerio, it's almost raining sideways.
It is. Left center field to home is what I would say. So balls hit to left, likely to blow over. Balls hit to right, probably swirling. Quinn Allen doing a great little dance in the foul territory to catch that, but Spain with yet another run. 1 run on 2 wind-aided doubles, though one of them crushed off the bat of Luis Guillorme. So before we head to the bottom of the 9th for GB's last at-bats, let's answer the question that Monsieur Monk posed to us. After France's disappointing result in which it will now play for 11th place, do you think France should do more to recruit Franco-Americans? Milan, what do you think about that?
I think that's an interesting approach that could be successful, but could also be a little bit risky. I think we saw it with Italy in recent years, where Piazza, the former manager, liked to use the implementation of the American Italians on their roster and kind of falling down in European rankings. But this year, Francisco Cervelli and his team are looking very good so far with a full Serie A roster. So I think for the long-term future, building on players from your own league is the way to go, and obviously a little bit of help here and there would not hurt, but I would not rely on input from the Americans. Would you agree, Gabriel?
I have pretty much a similar answer. I'd add the caveat that I would say the approach to World Baseball Classic qualifiers and the main tournament is a little bit different in my mind to the rest of the tournaments in which a country plays. And I'll repeat the answer that I gave to Sweden's manager Björn Johannesson. Hello to the Johannesson family if you are listening from Sweden, especially Björn's little son, Noah, who wanted to be here, but alas, at 7 years old, has to go to school instead of to watch his dad coach baseball. What I told Johannesson was, although other teams may get the headlines and may temporarily appear to really be changing the future of their national teams via some big results thanks to some imported players of dual heritage, the way to succeed, though it might take 10 or 15 years, not that France is in year zero of that, is to trust the approach, to continue working through the academies, to send as many players abroad as possible, and be very selective about the players that one brings in. Can they contribute in a mentor capacity, or specifically in coaching, especially younger children? Are they willing to play in the National League of that team? Are they willing to stay behind and contribute rather than just show up for a tournament? And France has been pushing this development plan now for, I would say we're about 10 years in, maybe 11 to 12 years in, and it's felt like France is on the cusp of breaking through for a while. How many times this tournament, Milan, have we talked about a young French player who is just so young and yet doing so well, or has been in the lineup for so many years despite being 20-something years old and still in his earlier mid-20s?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a lot of potential there, and it's just time. I think they just need some time to get the puzzle put together, as the pieces are definitely there, and I think it's just a matter of time. Meanwhile, we got a new pitcher on the mound for Spain after 2 great innings from reliever Carlos Sierra, who gave up no hits, no runs, 1 walk, and 3 strikeouts. We have former Major League Baseball player Reiner Cruz from Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, who spent some time with the Houston Astros in 2012 and 13, and then later with the Toronto Blue Jays in 2018. Also spent some time in Japan with the Rakuten Golden Eagles. He is the closer for Team Spain as he gets to wrap up this game, as he's facing Quinn Allen, the first baseman for Great Britain.
Thank you, Mike Speicherman, replenishing my stock of scorecards.
As Quinn Allen goes down on strikes, strikeout looking, 1 down, 2 to go. Great Britain running out of time here to make a comeback.
Another very dominant pitcher coming onto the mound for Spain. 12th K of the game between the 3 pitchers. Sierra struck out 3 in 2. Guillen struck out 8 in 6. Reiner Cruz has been on so many teams and in so many situations for Spain. He has not allowed a run in the last 3 European Baseball Championships, and in that time, he has struck out 13 and 9 2/3 and allowed 4 base runners in 9 2/3 innings.
That's pure dominance right there.
It is.
It's a ground out, 5-3, goes into scorebook, and now Great Britain down to their last out.
So, GB, 1 out remaining. It's hitters having nothing really to do against Spain's hitter. Nothing really to say, I should say, against Spain's great pitching staff. Reiner last time out in 2023, 6 Ks in 5 innings, only 2 base runners. The opponents hit 0.63 against him, only slightly less than the 0.91 that they managed in 2021. This is as dominant as a European bullpen arm gets. 1-0 count now to what looks like the pinch hitter Flaherty, I believe, and he bounces a ball down the left-hand side. We'll just double check that. Nothing yet in the official scorebook, but Flaherty showing, and it looks like Flaherty based on the eye test from my spot in the right field bullpen. Flaherty has started every other game. He started all but 1 game until today, so more than half. I should be the easier way of saying that. It fouls off the 1-1. Product of the London Youth Baseball League, born and raised in London. an important part of the domestic circuit. Then headed to the U.S., wrapping up a college career at Middle Georgia State University, NAIA program in the southeast U.S. state. Has won several titles with the London Mets as he strikes out swinging 1-2 on a fastball low and outside, and 3 up, 3 down as it has been for the last 3 innings. Spain eliminates Great Britain. It advances to face the winner of the Netherlands and Croatia. We are down to 5 teams in the hunt for the 2025 European Baseball Championship title.
Yeah, very nice win there by Spain as they put up a lot of runs early, and Great Britain not able to come back and answer. Very nice job by the Spanish pitching staff as well, with Guillen starting and Sierra strong out of the bullpen, followed by a very strong Reiner Cruz. They will play the winner of Croatia and Netherlands. That game is going on right now on the main field here in Rotterdam. Score is 1-1 as we are in the bottom of the 5th on that field. I would highly suggest everyone that was watching this stream to tune in on that one. Should be an exciting game. I know I'm going to be heading over there to watch the end of that one. I'm sure Gabriel will be there as well.
I will. Hey, if there's great baseball happening right next door, can't imagine going anywhere else, even despite the very early start for both Milan and I. We've been on the call since 11 a.m. and you know what? I'm very much looking forward to doing it again tomorrow. It's been an absolute delight to have a pair of games with Milan, especially given his fantastic preparation for us. Let's talk a little bit more about this game. Spain absolutely in control from beginning to end. At no point did it look like GB would really do much damage. The game was close, scoreless first 2 innings, but the Charlie Collins double wasted in the 2nd inning, and from that point, GB was on the back foot.
Yeah, I think that 3rd inning in which Spain scored a lot of runs kind of sealed the deal, as Great Britain was not able to come back and produce anything offensively, and as a result, Spain kept the momentum at all times. The players looked and felt very comfortable out there, almost to the point where they seemed almost cocky, but that's kind of what you need as a Hispanic team facing a team of the Great Britain and American guys. That confidence is what Spanish teams and Hispanic teams need in order to succeed, and it worked out. Spain advances to the semifinal. Great Britain will play again tomorrow. They will face the loser of the Netherlands against Croatia.
Something that is lost in the fact that this is such a surprising one-sided win is the fact that GB Baseball is now in a position where anything other than a semifinals appearance feels disappointing. But what's really